Hi, welcome back to Brockzilla and Queen Kong, and let me go over the top 10 things to do in St. Augustine. Number 1 would be the beach, because I love swimming in the ocean and making sandcastles and finding seashells. And I also love writing my name in the sand. Number 2 is the old fort, because you can go on the top and look at the cannons, and you can learn a lot of stuff like what the soldiers did at the fort, what they ate, and how they slept, and how the medics would help them if they were shot in battle. I love seeing the view from where the cannons are on the top. Number 3 is the Fountain of Youth, because you can drink water from the fountain, which is super good. We watched them fire old guns like muskets and cannons, and we saw a blacksmith smelt nails. It's super cool. Number 4 is Colonial Adventures. I love it because there's a giant pirate ship and they fired cannons there, just like the Fountain of Youth.
Viva España!
And then they showed us what blacksmiths would do and how they made the houses there, and it's super fun. And we went up the watchtower and you could see the old fort from up there. Also, there's the flags from each country of who owned St. Augustine during each period of time. So there was the Spanish, the Americans, and the British fighting over St. Augustine. It showed the evolution of that. Number 5 would be St. George Street, because you can see beautiful historical buildings. And my favorite part is the shops. There's ice cream stores, food restaurants, everything. Number 6 would be the Lighthouse Museum, because of the height up there, you could see all St. Augustine. The St. Augustine Lighthouse was built from 1871 to 1874. And before we left the lighthouse, we made sure to hit the penny press. Number 7 would be the Alligator Farm, because they have the largest alligators, and it's like a zoo, but instead of all different animals, it's just full of alligators. And we watched them feed the alligators with like giant rats, and those alligators would go and chop them and chomp on them, and it was awesome seeing it. We also got to feed the alligators ourselves, and it was so fun. There was a zip line thing where you could zip line over the alligators. I was too scared to do it. Number 8 would be the Pirate Museum and the Shipwreck Museum, because at the Pirate Museum, there was stations on where the pirates, where they manned it on the deck. It shows their weapons, and it shows the cannons that they fired and stuff. And there's like different sections where you can read where they slept and things. And it's really cool. At the Pirate Museum, there were interactive videos and things, and you could fire a cannon. Shipwreck Museum is on number 8 too, because they're kind of the same. It's like a museum where the ships that like sunk, it's the treasures that were found, like on the Titanic. There were plates and stuff there from pirate ships and stuff. There was bottles of rum and different things of beer. And then there was like pirate flags and stuff that they found, and old newspapers on the Titanic of people's perspectives written in the newspapers, which I thought was cool because you could read them. And then there was a virtual reality station of the Titanic, which was so cool. Number 9 was the old house and the old drugstore and the wax museum. The old house, it's the Gonzalez Alvarez house, a Spanish conquistador who lived in it. The house dates from the early 1700s, dating to about 1723. The old house is the oldest house in St. Augustine, because all the old houses that were in St. Augustine, the Spanish burnt down and they rebuilt them. Some of the only houses were the houses like the old house that were still standing. It's one of the oldest houses. Inside the old house, there's the plates and the silverware that they used to cook and things, and there's the furniture and the toys and stuff. There's this one section where it's like what the Spanish used and war and their muskets and guns and pistols and things and their hats and their armor. And then the next section was that same thing for the British of what they wore and things like that. And then the same thing for the Americans and what they wore. And the next is the old drugstore with the wax museum inside of it. The drugstore was owned by a pharmacist. Inside it is the first wax museum, Potters. What's so cool about it is it's like the evolution from the Native Americans living in St. Augustine all the way to the Western time. And then it goes over the presidents and stuff, and like there's different wax people. There's like Abraham Lincoln, Harry Potter, Michael Jordan, presidents of the United States. And at the end was Pirates of the Caribbean, Jack Sparrow. Number 10 would be the old jail and Gator Bob's. Gator Bob's, there's History Museum. So the first section is the Native Americans, and then it goes with the Spanish, then it goes to the British, then it goes to the pirates, and then finally it goes over the Americans, and then it goes over the old jail. And also at Gator Bob's, there's a gift shop. Now let's go over the old jail. The old jail served St. Augustine from 1891 to 1953. The old jail goes over where the prisoners slept, what they ate and where they ate it, what they did when they were doing yard work, and it goes over scary ghost stories that happened to the prisoners. Here are some extra bonuses. The trolley that can take you all over St. Augustine. It stops at every historical location. Also, the Littner Museum. The Littner Museum is an old hotel called the Alcazar. It used to have a swimming pool inside, but is now turned into a restaurant. It's from 1887 Spanish Renaissance. And the last thing's Flagler College. It's very rich and expensive. You gotta have that money to go to it. The Flagler College was once a hotel, Ponce de Leon. It was built in 1888. Another National Historic Landmark. Thank you so much for watching Top 10 Things to Do in St. Augustine. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to smash that like button and subscribe with notifications on.